I'm doing fantastic. How you doing, Paris?
Uh, this is our second show, and I cannot imagine another show killing it from the beginning. The guests that have agreed to come on and trusted us, from the onset, is incredible, and I have a feeling this conversation is going to be pretty incredible.
I couldn't agree more. I'm super excited for this conversation that we're going to have today. Before we welcome our fantastic guest, do you want to give us a rundown real quick of what anybody's game is, why we're doing it, what's it about?
Yeah, so in this day and age, we are fully aware that social media and various platforms are where is established, where we're having conversations, where we're marketing, where we're branding, whether it's ourselves, our companies, products. It's not just people, it's literally anyone has the ability to get out there. That's the belief. But we want to ask the people who are really carving out their lane if it really is anybody's game. Is it really possible for anyone to succeed here, to make a name for themselves, to grow an audience, to grow a brand? And we're talking to the best of the best, not only on Clubhouse, but on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. Our goal is just to get answers from people who, whether they're athletes or entrepreneurs, business individuals who've really figured out how to carve a niche and how to use platforms to gain an audience, to get not only a following, but just in a way like never before, be able to get eyes and ears on board.
And there's so much to it too. There's definitely effort to build audience and to build content and to build community. It's not an easy feat. Otherwise, everybody would do it, right? So I think it's really interesting to learn from the folks that we have coming on. And I'm really excited for today's guest. I'll go ahead and welcome her. If you can pull her up to the stage, and I'll pull her up here on the stream. That is Leah Lamar. Leah, welcome to the stage. How are you? Awesome.
Oh, hello, everyone. I'm great. How are you? Sorry. I'm just, we're IRL, FaceTiming, and then also on Clubhouse. This is amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And what we're doing here for everybody that's listening in is we are doing it obviously here live on Clubhouse, but we're also recording and streaming this live. If you want to watch the video or you want to follow along, actually all you got to do is click on the link in my Instagram, and that'll send you to the YouTube, and you can see what we all look like in real life. So
I'm a monster, so don't. Sorry, I'm a monster, so don't bother. I got this.
Yeah, right. Well, Paris, why don't you kick us off?
Go on, Paris. Sorry, what? I gotta call my mom and put her on.
I'm definitely going to keep going if you give me a minute, for sure. But what I want to know is basically, to kick us off, in a world where social platforms are driving communication and marketing and information and culture, do you think it's possible for anyone to be successful at content creation? Is it anybody's game, in your opinion?
In my opinion, thank you, Paris. In my opinion, anyone who doesn't build castles in the sky doesn't build them anywhere. So if there's a will, there's a way. That's my opinion. So in my opinion, if you want it badly enough, you have to reach out and grab it. And I would say that there are some people who say they want it, but actually don't take action. And if that's the case, they're just not going to get what they want. Of course, luck, opportunity, talent, time, connections, faith, all of this goes into the bigger picture, but you need to have all of them working synergistically in order for it to come to fruition, in my opinion. But yes, I do think it's anyone's game. I think anyone who wants to play can play, and anyone who wants to sit on the sidelines can sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, I love how you said that, because, of course, there might be people that have, talents because of their upbringing, et cetera. But at the end of the day, to really drive to success, like that's not just, you don't just grow up with that. You don't just get born into that. There's an element of repetition or practice or fundamentals or getting your ass kicked, or, anywhere above. So
Yeah, I would say there are some people who don't have enough childhood trauma to succeed, and I'm so sorry for your loss. But for the rest of us, welcome to the winner circle.
I love that.
I don't know why I said that. I tried confidence on. Did it work?
No, I love that, because I always say your that trauma is essentially like your superhero origin story, right? Like if there's likely something that's happened in your personal life at some point that is more difficult than anything that you're going to experience in your business life. And so if you can find the the lesson there, or just knowing that you're resilient, yeah, I think that's great. So Paris, I want to kick it off to you and get us started, because otherwise we're just going to have a fun conversation the whole time, but it'll be fun anyway.
It's going to be fun either way. So what I wanted to do, first of all, in preparing for this show, Leah, I was looking into your background, and there's so many hyphenations.
Oh, wait.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, no. And contacted exes. So it's going to get interesting. Leah, welcome to This Is Your Life. No, but seriously, so I'm looking at all the hyphenations, and I'm like, what do I lead with? And it was such a huge question, because obviously when you're doing these things, you want to highlight what there is. And I just felt like it's a list, and I didn't know where to start. So I would love to know from you, somebody who's never met you, never been on Clubhouse, never been to one of your shows, doesn't know your parents, doesn't know your background, doesn't know your history. You're meeting them for the first time. How do you introduce yourself?
Oh, I usually say, hi, I'm Leah. I'm mentally ill, but I'm working on it. And that seems to do the trick.
Okay, but in the sense that you want them to know like a bit about your, like what you do and who you are, like your intro, like, hi, I'm Leah. Like, am I a producer? Am I a comedian? Am I an actress? Am I a host?
Yeah, so I usually say, hi, I'm Leah Lamar. I am an actor and comedian. I don't typically like to put myself in a box, especially in the creator economy where everyone wears a million different hats. I think that this day and age, you have to be more than one thing. It's not the same business as it was 20 years ago, where you could just be a hot 18-year-old model and be waiting by the phone for your agent to call you for a part. I moved to LA thinking I was going to be a young ingenue, LOL. And I got my ass handed to me almost immediately. I met with this casting director, and it was the only person I got a meeting with. It was a friend favor from the only other person I knew in entertainment. And this, I swear to God, I'm the only Jew who has no connections in the entertainment business. I mean, really just did not work the Jew card well. And she took a meeting with me. And after an hour of laughing and connecting, at the end, she said, I just want to let you know you're more funny, less pretty. And I was like, oh my God, you think I'm funny? And I realized what she meant after going to casting after casting of seeing all these, perfect 10s walk out the door, right? You're an attractive woman, but women in comedy is so rare in this town and so unique that if you can have any sort of comedic sensibility, you should be working that for yourself. And I did. And I just took off running with that. And then I noticed that most people in comedy are making their own videos. They're their own writers, directors, producers, podcast hosts, television hosts. Comedy lends itself to a myriad of experiences. I've hosted at E! I host America's Funniest Home Videos. And at E! It's super glam, and I'm roasting people like Joan Rivers. And then at America's Funniest Home Videos, I'm telling dad jokes like Bob Saget. It's super PG. And then I come on this app and I'm producing shows. I'm booking shows. I run a club, a comedy club on here. And I'm telling people, oh, I don't know if I can really use curse words right now, but, I'm telling people about the intimate details of my life. Don't worry, Mom, I'm still a virgin. And it just goes on and on. But for me, I think it's really important for people to know I'm not just one thing. I've never been just one thing. People are complex in nature, and I think in business as well. So for me, I'm an actor, a writer, a comedian, a TV host, a producer, and I plan to never stop.
I love that so much. And what I find really interesting about that is just how you had a vision of where you wanted to go. And then you took, I don't want to say direction, but there was a signal there, right? And instead of forcing yourself into perhaps what you wanted to be, you took that signal. What would you say to someone that's maybe in that same experience right now, where they think that they want to be something, but the signals aren't there?
Okay, to be honest, I was trying to listen to what you were saying, but I was too focused on how white my teeth look. I just got my teeth whitened last week. I swear, they're so white, you should just call them Karen.
That's amazing. It's like, so.
I have a one-way ticket to hell. I'm so sorry. Like, Jonathan, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, just beautiful chiclets.
Just so you know, Leah, I'm handling guest lists at the doors of hell, and I've got a good spot for my friends. Don't worry.
Thank you so much. I love for you to roll out the literal red carpet on my way to hell.
Okay, I'm going to try to go to heaven, though, but I will visit you all.
It's your loss. So. It's very chilly up there. I don't like where water.
No one cool goes to heaven, Jonathan.
I honestly imagine hell is just Florida. No offense. But you guys know what you did. Okay. Sorry, Jonathan, what's your question?
No worries. No, I'm loving the conversation. So when you think about you were on this direction, you're on this path, you went to LA for a result, like, hey, I want to be an actress, or I want to be a model, etc. And then someone planted a seed and said, like, hey, no, like, maybe this. What's kind of your thoughts or advice for just someone that might be in this situation themselves, or like they're so myopic in what they want to do, and there's perhaps like some universal signals of like, hey, maybe you might be better at something else that you didn't consider?
Siri, can you look up myopic? Okay, so the worst part about it is that Siri did not activate. Fired. You're fired, Siri. So in my opinion, I think that there are a variety of reasons why people gravitate toward whatever field that they are currently curious in. And for me, I was pushed away from the arts at a really early age. And I think it's because my parents wanted stability for me. And I can empathize with that, and I can understand that. But as an artist, that is crippling. As an artist who wants to express themselves, and that's what they naturally have an inclination for, and that they find joy in, to be pushed away from the thing that makes you feel alive feels like you are being inherently rejected from your nuclear family, and that there's something inherently wrong with you when people push you away from what you like to do, and what makes you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose. And for me, I tried everything else, and every other profession I aimed for, I used creativity in some element, because I couldn't escape art in whatever form it was. I worked at the corporate headquarters of a bank for 2.5 years, and I would just find ways of getting colorful Post-its and, making things look more beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. And of course, trying to add jokes in a place where humor was essentially not acceptable, and or crop tops, which was a bummer. Why wouldn't they fire me? I don't know. I tried so hard. And I was everyone's junior by, 20 years. I never was like a fish out of water there, but I was for sure, I had stability. My income was stable. I had a 401k. I had amazing health benefits. And I just think that I was so filled with anxiety and depression during that period, because I was not living, I was not aligning with my purpose, and my soul felt trapped. And now I have anxiety and depression as an artist, but I can express it, So this is my preferred mode of anxiety and depression. But I see a lot of people struggling in their jobs. And a lot of times I know it's because they're shadow artists. If you've ever done the artist way, that just means you want to be an artist, but for whatever reason, you've put limitations and boundaries up around yourself, or have been told too many times that you can't, and never afforded yourself the possibility of being an artist. And so you despise other artists, or you yearn to be an artist, but you put other artists down. And there's anxiety in your work, but because you are so upset that other people are willing to accept that about themselves and act on it. And it's a hard job. It's not easy. You know, I mean, I lived in a 6th floor walk up with a heroin addict who overdosed, and I was in the red every month on my bills. I had no support from my family until recently. And, you know, God bless them. It's still a journey for us all. You know, my dad didn't talk to me for a year and a half over some jokes he saw online. And so there have been sacrifices I've had to make for this lifestyle, and, you know, living off unemployment. And, you know, I was even on food stamps for a while, really just trying to figure out how to make it work without feeling and having multiple jobs and working in bars and nightclubs and just to make ends meet to have the job I wanted. That's how you know you want it bad enough. You struggle and you put up with the struggle to get what you want. And I think that there are a lot of people who have jobs and they're too afraid to leave their jobs for the fear of what I went through and what a lot of artists go through. And in my opinion, you know, if you've got that much fear around it and you're not even willing to try, then it's probably not meant for you. And if you're trying hard to be an artist or be in a profession, a different profession, and it just doesn't seem like it's happening, I'm going to be honest, it is not my place to tell someone if they will or will not make it. It is not my place to see what someone else might see in them that I don't. And I learned that the hard way, because I came to LA and I used to think, oh, that person's never going to make it. Well, what are they thinking? And then 2 years later, they're on a TV show and I'm sitting here being like, oh, okay. So, you know, some people, everyone goes through different phases in their life. And it's really hard to say who will hit, why, when, how, if. The possibilities are endless. And so I think if you're afraid to try, then that's your answer. But if you are trying, then I can't say whether or not you should quit or shouldn't quit.
I'm curious to know where it all, first of all, like your background. I know that there is comedy in your family, from my understanding.
Hilarious.
Good, hilarious isn't bad.
Yeah, so my mom is a cartoon character. She is straight up out of a sitcom. So funny. She's the best storyteller you'll ever meet. Everything she says is funny. And she can't help it. It's just her nature. Other than that, you know, I would say that that's where we draw the line. I think Jews are naturally hilarious people because of all the trauma, and it's hot in the desert for 40 years, you know, you gotta.
So then I would love to know how it was for you growing up. We could fast forward through it, you know, but what you want to share. I'm curious to know what the elements were that shaped you, because you're a New Yorker, from what I understand. That's your background. You grew up in New York. So what was that like? Was that anything like, is there anything to make of that? I'm just curious to know what it was that made you, because like we joke about the traumas that make us and that shape us. So I'm just curious to know if there were moments in your life where you're like, you know what, like a couple of things happened that made me know for sure, or that really defined who I am.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think I have a lot of defining moments. I felt really alone in my childhood, and my sister and I never really got along. And I had a very strained family relationship. And so for me, I think my parents did the best they could with the tools they had at the time. And they didn't want me to struggle. And they were also struggling with their own demons and finances and purpose in life. And there wasn't a lot of room for me to shine in that capacity. And I spent a lot of time alone in my room or out doing different extracurriculars. And I love my parents. You know, I really think that they sacrificed a lot so that I could have a healthy childhood. But I think I would have liked to start therapy at 12 or 8 or when I came out of the womb, and and learned better communication skills. There was a lot of yelling in my childhood home, and there was a lot of rage. And so I was always afraid for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. And I lived in fear a lot in my life, and I always kind of tended to be attracted to men who yelled, which now I'm not. So if you yell, men, just know I am out the door. But if you are 6 feet tall and a nice, gentle spirit, feel free to slide into the DMs. But I think that my childhood obviously shaped a lot of who I am now, and that I now try to bring levity to darkness, because while I absolutely, cherish the fact that I grew up in a healthy environment, so to speak. I had a roof over my head. There was food on my plate. I went to a great school. There were a lot of other boundaries that weren't met, and a lot of other needs I had emotionally that were never met. And I feel like now my purpose is to bring joy to other people and help people relate in ways that they might not feel like they're being understood, or if they've had a problem that aligns with mine, that they can laugh about it instead of feel as traumatized or as sad or let it paralyze them.
Oh, that's a reminder. We are recording this, and so we have to unmute on 2 devices at the same time. That's what Jonathan was whispering about. So that being said, we are interviewing Leah for the first part of the show, and then the second part is all up to you. If you have any questions for Leah, please do raise your hands. In a couple minutes, we'll be starting to let people up. So with that being said, Jonathan, you have our next question.
Yes, Leah, it's been so awesome getting to know you, and just the way that you're just an amazing storyteller, which probably is why you're such a great comedian. I'd love to just know what do you think has shaped you overall in your career? Like what has moved the needle for you, whether that be like your own efforts or something externally? What moved the efforts in your career?
Jonathan, great question. Over to you, Paris. Okay. I don't even know how to answer this question, because I've gotten this question a lot recently. And a lot of people have asked, was there a moment that you knew or you felt like you really hit it, or a moment where you felt like you made it? No, I haven't felt that moment. I've had micro moments where I've thought, this is cool, and this is the path on which I'd like to exist, and I would like for my life to continue in this forward direction and aligning with whatever trajectory I'm on right now. When I started hosting at E with What the Fashion, Joan Rivers is, just one of my idols. Even just thinking about it makes me tear up. And I got to meet Melissa Rivers once. It's so stupid. I really love Joan. And
so funny.
I met Melissa, and it was a really cool moment that I got to be on her podcast. And when I got to be on What the Fashion, it just felt like I was channeling Joan, and she really paved the way for women in comedy. And I was so honored to be on that show, and I had so much fun. And I love glam, and I love comedy, and I love fashion. I'm from New York, and I used to work in a showroom modeling evening gowns, for crying out loud. And so it felt like such a perfect synergy for me. And it was a really cool job. And ultimately the show got canceled, and it was such a bummer, but I did love it. And, getting to perform at the Comedy Store in the main room was such a cool moment for me. Right before I went up, Ali Wong tapped me on the shoulder, and she bumped me, which was sucked, because it's so hard following someone who's a master. and just absolutely killed it. But then I was just like, oh my God, Ali Wong touched my shoulder. And she's also one of my favorite comedians. And, you know, I feel like there have been moments in my life that I've been very lucky and very blessed, but I don't think that I've had my moment yet where I can objectively just look back and think, that was it. You know, that was the moment that I've been waiting for. I think that these are all moments that are kind of aligning for one of hopefully many moments that feel like they're the big moment. And I'm just very grateful and very fortunate to hopefully keep moving forward on that path. I mean, you know, I remember I auditioned for Maisel as Maisel, and don't get me started. She's not Jewish. It's fine. I'm over it. But I'm not over it. I'm never going to be over it. This is the biggest trauma of my entire life. But I auditioned for Amy Sherman Palladino, and Gilmore Girls. She's just an absolute icon, someone that if you audition for, you never forget. And I bombed really hard, and I beat myself up for that for a really long time. I remember going to my boyfriend's house at the time and just having an absolute mental breakdown. I was like, I gotta be 5150. This is unwell. I was sobbing out of control. I ultimately, you know, I did well, but I didn't get it, obviously. But you know, there are a lot of times that failures to me feel like successes because they're just opportunities for growth. So while that was a huge opportunity that I didn't get, I still try to see the wins in the losses. So for me, I got to meet Amy Sherman Palladino. I got to audition for the lead of one of my favorite shows of all time. And I learned how I can respond better in the future to perceived rejection or to when I don't think I perform my best, not beating myself up like that. You know, I'm my own worst enemy a lot of times. And man, if I'm not taking care of myself and I'm not meditating and I'm not praying and I'm not getting out and working out and in gratitude, I mean, I'll just lose my mind. And then, you know, everything else will follow suit. So for me, it's really important to take care of myself. And I learned that lesson the hard way. And I would say that's a milestone for me too, but not in the way that you might think.
Essence, obviously, the work that comes with comedy. I mean, first of all, there are so many levels. You're an actress, you're a comedian, you're a producer, you're a host. Putting yourself on the line, auditioning for so many different kind of roles is... It's not like you're just getting, if there's an opportunity for rejection, the opportunity for rejection is in multiple categories. So I feel like you've just lined them up for yourself. So I'm just wondering, especially when it comes to comedy, because we look at comedians and just expect laughter. So I'm just wondering from the flip end, when it comes to creating content as a comedian, how close are you to having to not where you want to be, because obviously there's always growth, there's always other opportunities and bigger pie in the sky, castle in the sky goals, like you mentioned. How close are you, and how much more confident are you than what you were when you started out? And the reason for my question is I want to know how you got here, because I'm sure your day one and your first time on stage or your first time writing is very different from where you are now. And I would love to know what's carried you and what's gotten you to the confidence that you have now.
Delusions of grandeur. And I mean, oh boy, you have to be delusional. You really do. You have to have some level of delusion to keep pursuing this after infinite rejection. You have to, because logically, if you have been rejected 1,000 times and you are still pursuing something, you know, you could take that as a sign it's not meant to be and you should stop doing it. And I would say I've definitely been rejected more than 1,000 times. I mean, at this point in my life, are we adding men and profession or just profession? Because
we're adding all of them.
But I
share stories. You want to go, Leah? I'm sure.
Don't love that for us, Paris. Two beautiful women who can't get a husband. I understand.
I've had one.
Never mind. Well, all right, Paris, we're done. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to move Paris to the audience, but I'll just speak for myself. It's just one is the lonely. Paris moved herself to the audience. Hilarious.
Amazing, amazing. We'll have to invite her back up.
I tried, but she knows where she belongs. Okay. Traitor. What was the question?
I wanted to know, especially when it comes to comedy, basically what's gotten you to, like, for me, comedy is the most terrifying thing. To be funny and random, it's such a compliment when you say something and people laugh, great. When you're on stage and people are paying to laugh and to be entertained, and your role is to have prepared for that audience and to just to give them their money's worth, it is absolutely, I just find brilliance to a different level, just because you have to understand humans, you have to be clever, smart, play off an energy, just like your EQ levels are massive. Like, honestly, some people are like, oh, it's terrifying to be naked on stage in front of people. I think it's more terrifying to try to make people laugh on stage. Much rather be naked on stage in front of people than like be expected to make people laugh. So from somebody who's actually like, that would be the most terrifying thing for me. I'm just very curious to know, like, your first terrorizing moment up until now. Are you still scared, or do you feel like you have a hang of it? And how did you get here? And I'm asking this because obviously there's people in the audience. Not everyone's a comedian, but everyone's got that moment where they're starting off really rusty and they want to improve. So what did that look like for you?
Okay, well, as an emotional stripper who's also an alien, yes, UFOs are real, we're here. My parents saw me do stand-up for the first time. I've been doing stand-up 6 years, and they saw me do stand-up for the first time last weekend. And after the show, my mom said, "I'm so proud you didn't take your clothes off." And I think that there's an element of truth to how afraid people are of the stage and what it means and what it looks like to bare your soul. Because being naked on a stage emotionally is what stand-up is to me. And I was in musical theater first. That was my first dream, Broadway. I wanted to be a Jewish Britney Spears. You see how that panned out for me. I'm still under conservatorship as well. And if only the mother UFO would let me leave, please let me go back to Earth. I think, why am I like this? I had a lot of fear. I used to have crazy stage fright. So I wanted to be a singer, but singing was something that made me more nervous than anything in front of people. And I also have like 25 left feet. I'm not a good dancer. So musical theater was probably never really in the cards for me. But I loved the costumes, and I love Barbara Streisand, and I cry anytime I see a musical. I'm sobbing. Anytime I go to a musical, like, don't come with me. Don't come. I'm busy. I'm having my own experience, and it doesn't include you. You know, I'm watching God at work. Okay, so go do your own thing. I'm at the theater. But for me, I burst into tears every single time because it feels like a religious experience. You know, because those people are able to do something I want to do so badly, and I cannot, right? Maybe in the future, that's something that someone will write a part for me where I don't have to dance, or the girl's like actually just a really bad dancer, and it's like a funny part. But anyway, I used to watch all of these old musicals, not only on Broadway, but like Funny Girl. I mean, have you ever seen a better musical in your life? Carousel, all of these old musicals, Showboat, I just loved them all. I loved them all. And I had so much hate. I was truly unable to even remember dance. I would just go into a panic. And it took me a really long time to realize what was going on. And it's because I wasn't confident in my skill set. So I didn't feel confident as a dancer. And so that was reflected in my nerves, and because I lacked confidence. And so then I remember someone saw me in a musical and said, "Have you ever tried just doing theater, just straight theater without singing and dancing? You're a great singer, just, you know." And I was like, "Oh, I haven't." And he put me in a play, and I was like, "Oh, I'm less nervous because I'm confident in my acting abilities." And I started to get more and more familiar with being on a stage in that capacity. And then I had a friend who said to me, have you ever done TV film? Like, is that something you'd be interested in? I'd love to put you in my movie. I saw you in that play and I thought you'd be great. And I was so big because I was used to being on a stage doing theater and being overly animated that took me a minute to tone it down and understand how different of an art form TV and film acting is. And then I was so much less nervous doing TV and film because I felt confident. Once I fine-tuned my abilities, I started feeling really confident there too. And then I started to have this other itch, which was to go back to performing live, because it's just a different skill set. And once you get your sea legs and you stop feeling that nervousness and you turn it into excitement, which is what I do with stand-up. And I have mantras before I go on stage where I tell myself, everyone's gonna love you. You're gonna connect with the audience. Everyone's gonna laugh together. You're all gonna have a great time. You're gonna bring so many people joy. And I say, I'm having a good time. I'm connecting with the audience. And I do power poses. I have my hands on my hips like a superhero. I put my hands in the air in a V shape and I shake it out and I just get really excited to go on stage. I get excited to touch people's lives and I get excited to connect with people on a deeper level and have them go home and retell the jokes and laugh about it and bring joy to people. And so when I'm able to reframe those moments in my brain, I'm less nervous and I have more confidence. And so I'm able to go on a stage in front of, 1,000 people and not really think twice about it and not get in my head about it. But 10 years ago, I was a nightmare. I mean, I would be backstage freaking out. I didn't have the tools to channel that nervous energy into excitement, and it would just release me into panic mode, and then I wouldn't perform my best. It was almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like I almost didn't want to perform well because I was like, I'm not confident. I'm not good at this. Everyone else will think the same thing, It's like I wanted people to agree so I could just not do it because I was so afraid. And now I'm so confident. I'm like, no, I'm funny. I'm good at this. I love doing this. I feel my most self when I'm on stage. I feel happy to be alive when I'm on stage. And I can't ignore those signs. And I can't ignore that when I'm telling jokes and I'm writing jokes, I feel aligned, and that's the bottom line. So for me, I went from feeling really not confident in my abilities, letting it show, sabotaging myself, feeling so nervous and having so much panic that I would almost intentionally mess up and not let myself shine and play small. And then that has turned into something much different. And that's not to say that sometimes I don't get nervous. I mean, I got nervous when my parents were there for the first time in 6 years because I was like, what if I bomb? What if all of a sudden the audience hates me and my parents see me not do well and then they think I'm bad? And then I was like, that's just not going to happen. At this point, I'm a professional. I believe in my abilities. I know that I will make an audience laugh. The whole time, I don't know about that. Most of the time, I hope so. But I know that I'm good at what I do, and I love what I do, more importantly. So for me, I feel confident in my abilities. I am striving to get better every day, and I want to be better all the time because the better that I believe I am, the more confident I will be going onto a stage, and the better time everyone will have, and the more joy I will bring to people's lives. Did I answer your question?
You definitely did, and beyond. If anyone just joined us, we're interviewing Leah Lamar as part of Anybody's Game. We are going to be taking audience questions shortly. Jonathan's got a question lined up, but just make sure that you have yours. We'll be letting you guys up in a moment. Jonathan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, before I ask my question, though, if anybody's been listening the whole time, this is a masterclass in just like resilience and like self-awareness. And there's so, we're in a room about startups and founders and so forth. And Leah's, journey as a comedian is so relatable to any startup founder out there. So I'm just so glad that we're listening to you here. And, you talked about some things in childhood and then some of the struggle of just trying to make it. And then, every angle there's something in front of you, but that gave you the confidence to where you're at today, which is I just love that so much. So congrats to you on that. And anybody listening, if you're feeling or experiencing those obstacles right now, just know that that's the iron sharpening your iron to, really get you ready for that next step. So as Paris mentioned, do raise your hands and we'll start welcoming folks up here shortly. We've got just a couple more questions and then we'll just go right to it. So, we're talking about content and creation and the following that creates. How did you go about building your audience? And, was it intentional at first? Is it intentional now? How do you think about the audience that you curate and the community that you're building around Leah Lamar and around your comedy and the other things that you do?
Well, Jonathan, I will tell you, are we talking about Clubhouse? Or we're talking about just in general?
Just in general.
Okay. Well, if I'm honest, at the beginning of this insane Clubhouse journey, there was just a hustle and a desire I didn't know why I needed to have a large following. I just knew that it was important to put all my eggs in this basket. And I would just be on millionaire stages being like, when I bought my first home, LOL. I mean, just lies upon lies. It was such a race to the top for some reason. And, there was no money in it. There was there was no like accolades. I just knew that it was going to be important. There was something in me that said, I'm good at speaking. and I don't know if it's social audio or if it's Clubhouse or whatever it is, but I just want to move through this app. I'll get back to the community in general in just a second, but there were a lot of times where I thought I can speak on a lot of different topics, but the thing that I'm the best at is being me. And so that's when I started just bringing my authentic flavor to rooms and bringing comedy to rooms where there was not previously comedy. And whether that meant, saying something borderline inappropriate in a business room or or just being a ridiculous person or saying something slightly outlandish, I was always the person that someone would throw it to for that. And that's fine. And I think when I started building this comedy community, there was just no comedy on the app. It was all very business oriented. And I was able to bring a lot of my friends on board. And I started booking shows and having comics on and creating this everyone unmute your mics to laugh and then remute yourselves sort of situation. So it emulated a real comedy club. And I think that people from around the world were able to come into our rooms, and I would get messages constantly that were just saying, I was having the worst day and this absolutely brightened my day. I haven't been able to find anything else like this on Clubhouse. Or I just opened my app, I found your roast room, and I laughed out loud for 5 hours, and there's nothing like it. And I mean, I was on a plane yesterday, and it was we were boarding, and the guy I was sitting next to, I heard me in a roast room, and the Midnight Roast run by Paul Leah and Danish Makbul, two of my favorite comedians and guys on this app. And Paul just said, "Who said Leah's blood type is rosé?" And I said, "Who said Leah's blood type is Manischewitz?" And then the guy next to me started bursting out loud. And I said, "You're Jewish?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "All right, let them roast you." And he goes, "Okay." This could have gone so poorly, mind you, because the flight hasn't even taken off yet. And I'm going from Nashville to LA. So, it could have been all downhill from there. So I PTR'd to a photo of me and the guy I'm sitting next to, this stranger, and they roast the shit out of him. I mean, oh my God, annihilated. And we're having the best time. And I was thinking to myself, all of these comedians who are on the stage, most of them have never even met. These are comedians from all around the world who have come together, and we've cultivated this community of people who know how to roast, have fun roasting, trust each other, know how to be polite with each other, not cut in front of the other person, and can bring each other up and support each other. And we've created all these inside jokes, and most of us have never even met. So, but it's cool that I'm starting to meet people as I go on the road to Nashville and Austin and Florida. I'm meeting different comedians that I've never met before. I met Wallonius in Florida. He's the creator of the Comedy Club. I met so many comedians in Austin, and I'm just meeting, and Ritu in Nashville. I'm meeting all these different people. But the community now is so strong because I think a lot of people feel like they're part of an an inside joke, one big inside joke, where we really created this family where everyone can kind of bring their crazy to the table and we love you for it. And that's kind of my whole brand, is looking for family, A. B, I like to say that I have a lot of chosen family as well. And B, being on the inner circle, being on the inside. And so this community just has a lot of inside jokes. And people, you know, I think that they like my vibe, which is kind of like snarky, sarcastic, bitchy Jewish woman who tells it like it is and puts people in their place. And it doesn't seem to bother people. You know, they call me the supreme leader. And and everyone just falls in line with it. Well, I don't know if that's for everyone's benefit, but in our opinion, you know, we're building this community of people who trust each other, love each other, respect each other, and can find joy together. And we are really building a family. And so I feel very fortunate for that.
And I want to jump. I hate the word. I feel like it's such a Clubhouse word to say. I want to piggyback off of that, so I won't. I would like to just elaborate on that for a second. And Rob, we do see you. We are going to be taking audience questions shortly. What I wanted to know is, let's say somebody is just starting out right now and they want to build their community, and they're on Android. They just got on. They see all these people who are doing amazing. Their clubs are developed. Their audiences are massive already. What do they do? How can they do it? And I'm not saying how can they do what you did, because obviously you have a niche, you do comedy, and there's a lot more. But I'm just wondering, what would your advice be to somebody who's trying to gain an audience, followers, however you want to define it?
First of all, I prefer the expression camel toeing. So, well, camel toe off of what you've just said. In my opinion, just start. Your room sizes might be small. Just, that's okay. You have to build an audience. Nothing happens overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. I prefer not to live in Rome personally. I'm more of a Bermuda Triangle girl. You know, once you're here, you get lost here forever.
Well, especially not live in Rome back in those days when they talk about when in Rome, or Rome being built in a day. You wouldn't want to live in Rome then.
Sorry, Jonathan, I just looked down at my phone and saw you were a unicorn on my phone. And then I looked at you on my computer screen and still a unicorn. So it's good to know that, you know, there's no lies happening here. You look just like your PTR photo. Yeah. So in my opinion, if you are just joining Clubhouse, start, find your tribe. A lot of people say that, you know, team up with people, find something that you are good at. Don't think about what other people will want. What do you want? What kind of content do you like? Because if it's not authentic to you, it will show and you'll run out of desire to do it and knowledge on the topic. So whatever it is that you want to do, like, let's just say you love fruit. I don't know. This is a very bad example. Find other people in your network that love fruit and make a fruit-related room. I really wish I hadn't chosen this as an example. And if I had a time machine, this would be my one take back of all the things I've ever done. And I've done some things I'm very ashamed of. This is the thing I regret the most. But and you know, my favorite thing to do is to start a room. If I'm going to another city, I'll say, who's in Nashville? I'm playing at Zany's tonight. And I'll find all the people in that community. And they'll ping their friends into the room. So if you're looking for people who are interested in your topic, start a room that just says, who loves fruit? I'm doubling down now. Who loves fruit? Find your people. What it takes to get there. Post on your Instagram story. Say, who uses Clubhouse? Who loves fruit? Team Strawberry forever. I hate myself right now. And just really, you know, sail off into the night with your passion. And you'll find other people. Start your club. Invite people constantly. I'm all day inviting people to Hot on the Mic. Do I hate myself for doing it? Yeah. Do I do it anyway? Absolutely. Hate yourself a little. Lean into it. Do what you love and let it kill you is what I say.
Are you saying lean into self-hate, Leah?
Yes, I am a comedian. That is absolutely correct. Lean as hard as you can into hating yourself, and the rest will follow.
Well, Leah, I want to take your advice. I would love to start a room with you sometime called Do You Like Fruit? So you just let me know when you're ready for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a more of a blueberry gal, but I hear you.
into, we have Rob on stage. For those of us who are, so if you're just joining us, we are broadcasting live on not on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. That's why there's a little red circle at the top of this page. We are recording. So Rob, you're joining us in this recording. It's going to be awkward for like 10 seconds because once you ask your question, I have to repeat it for the other broadcast. Do I not need to do that anymore, Jonathan? Wonderful. It's not going to be awkward at all, Rob. So go ahead with your question.
That is awesome. I'm glad not to be awkward. Hello, everybody. My name is Rob. I'm a producer and director here in town and an old friend of Leah Lamar, who I hired in a commercial about 10 years ago when she was apparently just starting out. Leah, do you remember me at all?
Rob, I resent you saying 10 years ago because I've only been in LA for 7 years and I want people to still think I'm 22, but of course I remember. Hello.
You've also met my wife, who is also an actress, and I know how to.
Thank you, Rob.
It's just been fun to kind of watch you do your thing over not just the last 8 years, but over the last 8 months. And I feel like I've been following you since that commercial that we did, and following you on Twitter. And it's been a lot of fun. And you're somebody that I can share with other people. And to see you kind of do your thing here on Clubhouse, it's fun to watch and support you, and I hope we're working together soon.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Don't make me cry again on this podcast.
Cop to one thing. I have a deck that I use to pitch a TV show right now, and you are in it, and you don't even know it. But you represent a character in my TV show. I guess I should send that to you.
But am I playing that character?
Stereotype right now of a person who is a person, and then the whole time I'm like, you guys do not understand that this is my diamond in the rough, sitting back, just waiting for this show to get picked up. So keep growing those Clubhouse numbers, baby, because that's what's important these days, not talent.
Damn. Well, thank you, Rob. I will continue to be talentless and grow my Clubhouse following. But if you have a commercial in the meantime that you need to book me on, I totally understand. And you're the best, Rob. It's good to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate the words and the kindness.
Thank you so much, Rob, for being here. It was a little extra fun getting a peek into Leah's past from 10 years ago, and we heard it here first. She's been cast in your show.
Seven.
To rapid fire as we close off the show. Jonathan, do you want to start us off? So if you're just joining us, we're interviewing Leah Lamar. We're getting to know her. We've gotten to know her really well. I highly suggest you, if you're not following her, I don't know what you're doing and why you're making these choices in your life because they're awful. So make sure that you're following her, that you're checking out her club as well, Hot on the Mic. Honestly, if you just want to laugh throughout your day, there's a lot of really fun rooms in Clubhouse and engaging rooms and personal development and music and whale moans and all that sort of stuff. But if you just want to laugh, like legit, her spaces are the ones to be in, but also be open to being self-deprecating, to putting yourself on the line, to maybe getting roasted. It's really an incredible community. And one of the reasons Jonathan and I wanted to talk to her was because she does, like, you put yourself on the line so much, Leah. It's not that you're opening the stage for other people to like share their stories. Like, you equally share and you put yourself out there. And the numbers are one thing, but you're doing it simultaneously in real life. You're doing Clubhouse. You're managing an insane schedule and just keeping it fun at the same time. And I think there's so many lessons to learn from you, as we've seen. So if you've missed the first part of the interview, please make sure that if you follow Leah, we're going to be sharing all the links to the videos. But Jonathan's been running this incredible show behind the scenes. So make sure you're following Jonathan, who's also the founder of the Founder Streams Club, which is a club for entrepreneurs or anyone who is on a founder's journey. And Leah has been really adding to that conversation, because so many parallels are going to be drawn from that. So thank you again, Leah, for those shares. Jonathan, are you ready to move into rapid fire?
I totally am. We had a ton of people in the audience, but we banned them from the room, just for fun. That's my try at comedy. But yeah, I would love to get into rapid fire. Before we do, though, again, if you do want to watch the stream of this, you can just click the link on my Instagram bio, and you will get straight to the YouTube, or you can follow it and watch it on LinkedIn, and then we will post this again tomorrow. So yeah, actually, Paris, do you want to go first? Because where are the rapid fire questions?
Your favorite social platform?
Clubhouse, duh. Next question.
I remember one from last time. Bitcoin,
truthful, honest.
Today or all time?
Just on average.
Probably like, it used to be 12 to 16 hours a day, but I think we're now down to like 5 hours a day. Possibly 6. Greg Fleischman, and he's in the audience.
Jonathan, do you have any?
I totally do, Paris. All right, Leah, you can only listen to one artist for the rest of time. Who's it going to be?
Oh, Lady Gaga. But I think this is a very unfair question, because I'm just like, I mean, like Barbra Streisand. I can't not choose a Jew. So Barbara.
Well, and I mean, arguably, if you get Barbara, do you get her movies also? I mean, I think probably, right?
Yeah. Thank you for changing the rules for me. Yes, I will say yes to that. Thank you.
And the other question I have for you, if you had to choose between Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Dogecoin, what are you choosing?
Look, I think Bitcoin is the easy answer, especially because you can use it on BitClout, which I obviously love. And if you want to buy my BitClout, oh baby, go ahead. But I think Ethereum is just sexier in nature, and it sounds very futuristic, and I'm sexually attracted to Ethereum.
Impressive attraction. I want to know the one thing you want everyone to know about you.
I'm an anal virgin.
Do not know what to do with that one. That was a really solid share. Leah, that was the best share. I would like to just encourage our audience, raise of hand. Leah has shared her truth. Anal virgins in the audience, please raise your hand. We won't bring you on stage, but we just want to go. We want to see a show of hands. Well, there you go. Leah, there you go. You've got your answer. Oh boy. Jonathan, control us. We're getting at it.
I'm just glad that we're also streaming this on LinkedIn Live. For that audience.
Very professional.
You're welcome.
So, okay, next question I have for you is, who are your top 3 follows on any platform?
Ooh, great question. Top 3 favorite follows. Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to say Hannah Pilks, who I think is a genius comedian and is rising very quickly. And I think her videos are hilarious. Jordan Firstman, same reason. He's risen very much and very quickly to fame, as he deserves. He's absolutely hilarious, and his videos crack me up. And then my last favorite follow would be Dana Donnelly on Twitter. I think she's so hilarious and astute, and she's a great joke writer.
Amazing. We've got our final question. What is a question that you would like to ask the audience? A question that you want them to consider?
Well, I'll give you a real question, not a funny question. My real question is, what is your why? That's it.
I love that. Easy peasy to say, but not easy peasy to do if you're really unpacking it. Leah, thank you so much. Before we close off, definitely, and this is going to be a multiple answer question. What are the best ways for people to keep up to date on what you're doing? Like, other than your Clubhouse bio, which states your insane schedule, how do we get in touch with you? What is the best way for us to keep up with you?
Please don't reach out to me. Thank you. I'm overwhelmed by my DMs are broken. It's over.
But if you're over 6 feet tall and a nice guy, please do, right?
Okay, so I take back everything I just said.
Okay.
If you are 6 foot 9 inches and that's 2 separate measurements, please feel free to slide into my DMs. You can find me at Leah Lamar on Twitter and Instagram. Here, obviously on Clubhouse, and I am on the road. I am going around and touring and playing a lot of different cities. I was just in Austin and then West Palm Beach and then Nashville. I'm going back to Austin in 2 weeks, and I'm going to be in LA. I'm going to San Diego next week. I'm headlining there at the American Comedy Co. So if you're in San Diego or the area surrounding it, please come. It'll be my first headlining gig ever. I'm very excited. And I think this is probably just the beginning of the tour. Also, I've got amazing merch thanks to Greg Fleischman. And I'm so excited to share it all with you. So if you are a big fan for no reason at all or just love anal virgins, feel free to go ahead and buy my t-shirt that has nothing to do with my butt and everything to do with my face, which sometimes looks like a butt because shit comes out of it.
Like all of it. What a pleasure, Leah, honestly.
I'm so sorry for everything I've done.
No, please do not apologize. This has been a fantastic interview. It's been so great getting to know you. It's been fun. We're laughing the whole time, and I'm excited to just watch these. I'll admit I don't always rewatch every interview I give, so this is definitely one I 100% will. So Leah,
just to be fair, I have not seen you laugh one time.
Oh, because so what happens though is that I'm so used to doing this motion where I just push my feelings down and I just push them deep down. So that way,
he's a comedian. Yeah. He understands trauma.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And so if you push them down, so sometimes I smile with my eyes.
That's called the smize. And Tyra Banks taught you well. It's working. It's working.
For the record, I'm going to out Jonathan. He's lying. He shared a couple of traumatic childhood stories that are enough for a lot of laughter. So I hope that you can, in your fruit room, that you could coach it out of him, because I think we'll get a lot of really good laughs out of it.
I would also like to thank Solmaz, who scheduled a room called Who Loves Fruit and added me as an admin. Thank you, Solmaz, for taking my advice quite literally. We love that for us.
This room is about, and that's what Founder Stream is about, to help you on your journey, whether you are a founder, an entrepreneur, a comedian, an actress, a host, and killing it on Clubhouse as one of the top creators here. Leah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been an absolute blast. Paris, you're an angel, a goddess, a gorgeous queen. Jonathan, it's been nice meeting you.
I just did something and I forgot this is being filmed live. Yeah.
That's something I have not forgotten. And the internet will never let me forget it either. Jonathan, you are a unicorn on and off this app. And now I can see you. Ladies, just letting you know, he's a unicorn.
I appreciate you sharing my truth with everybody.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Oh, go ahead.
Jonathan, we're out for this show. It's been an incredible episode too, and we've got an incredible show lined up next week. I hope you'll have good things to share with your friend Nicole in preparing her for this interview as well.
I don't know if anyone can prepare anyone for this interview, but I will say this has been the best hour of my life, said no woman ever.
Wait, to me or to Jonathan?
It was a sex joke.
No, I got it.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I was responding. That's why I was responding.
I'm going to keep smiling with my eyes.
I've broken you both. I'm so sorry.
I've been initiated into the cult, and you are my supreme leader.
Yes! Come to Hot on the Mic. It's our favorite cult. I am your supreme leader, and I want to stop talking. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here, Leah. Jonathan, seeing that this is your club, I'm going to let you close out the room.
All right. Again, Leah, thank you so much. And Paris, thank you for being such an amazing host. You are fantastic. This show is called Anybody's Game with Paris and her little bee, being me. And no, sorry, I'm going too much on the comedy side here. But anyways, so we are in the Founder Streams Club, as we have mentioned. Please do follow the club. We talk a lot about startups, founders, investors, everything in between. Lots of great folks in here that will be here to help you in your entrepreneurial journey. And we have fun while we do it as well. So please do follow the club, and we will catch you all soon. Thank you so much. And we'll talk later. Bye.
Thanks for having me, guys. Bye.
Thanks for being here.
Oh my God, I died. That was freaking hilarious.